We are in the Cyborg challenge. We'll hack into a machine and capture the flags. We're on TryHackMe and this challenge is called Cyborg. Let's see here, Cyborg. So the machine's already started. We have the attack box on the right and we started the target machine. You'll see you always have these two buttons, start machine to start the target machine to hack. And we have the button here that's now hidden, start attack box. So once they're started, we can start the challenge. First question, scan the machine, how many ports are open? So it's a bit like check the house, how many windows are open. In any attack box, you do that with a tool called nmap. It's a command line tool. So we click here to terminal, double click. Then inside nmap, followed by the address of the machine of your target. So this is the target IP address. This numbers is the address of the computer. So we simply copy that and right click paste. It's going to scan for a moment and you'll see we have two ports open. We have ports 80 and 22 open, two services SSH and HTTP. Anyway, you'll see here ports and we have two lines, so it means that two ports are open. So you always scan your target using a tool called nmap, this command line tool, and it's going to tell you how many ports are open. So ports to a computer is like windows to a house, and there can be different apps running on different ports. Every port has its own targeted communication. For example, you might have some app, BitTorrents running, an app for the web, email service, and so on. And each of them has a different port that they send data through on the internet. So in this case, two ports are open. And they ask us which port is running on port 22. So we see here in the output port 22 and the service is running SSH. Then they ask us which service is running on port 80. You'll see here port 80 and it's running the service HTTP. Then they ask us about flags. So what we could do, we could actually check what is shown on those websites, right? HTTP is for the web. We could take a look at the target computer with HTTP:// and then the target address. So once we open the page of this target IP address, you'll see we have a default page. A default Apache 2 is the web server. It gives websites. It's an app that gives websites. And we just have the default page. It doesn't really give us anything useful. So what we can do now is to scan if there's any hidden files or folders on this web page. To do that, we use a tool called GoBuster. We do GoBuster. Then we say dir, we want to scan for directories. Then the target link. So that is http:// whatever you have as target IP address. And we are going to use a word list. So that's some user share word lists /dirbuster. And you'll see this terminal is a bit too large. Let's make it a bit smaller. So /dirbuster. And then directory list sudo3 medium txt. So quite a long list. This is simply a list with many different random names. So like a dictionary, it just has a list of names. And it's simply going to check one by one. So it's going to try from that list whatever is first. We can actually see what is inside that list. So we say cut. And let's copy that file name. And you'll see many different words are in there. So it's simply going to try /article images, /email co, /overwrite, /4124. So it's going to try automatically everything that is in that file. For whatever's in the file, it's simply going to go one by one and check if that folder exists. So let's run the command. Let's close this and we run the command. And you'll see it immediately finds two folders, the /admin and /etc. So let's try to open that etc and admin. So you say /etc and make sure you just use some HTTP. And in here we find a folder squid. And in there, there's a file named password and squid.conf. So let's see if we open this password file. You'll see there's username music_archive. And in here we have what looks like a hash. Password stored in a cryptic form called a hash. So let's download this to the computer. This can be useful. Let's say right click, save link as, and we'll just save it into downloads. We also have squid.conf, and if we open that, you'll see just some link to the passwords and some more general that they have basic authentication. So let's see what we can do with that password file, right? We have this file, maybe we can crack it with John the Ripper and then see what is the actual password. Now it is stored in cryptic format. So we found this archive, this password file, which has a password inside, as well as a username. We could try to crack it. We are in the downloads folder, and we can say John. See if we can get this thing to focus. John, followed by the name of the file, and then we'll use the word list, which is the rock.txt file. So it's this word list, user share word list rock.txt. Then if we press enter, we'll try to crack this passwords. So it can take a moment. And then we find the password here, Squidward. So we know now the username, music_archive, and the password Squidward. Now let's take a look at the other folder. We have the folder admin as well. So let's go to that folder. So we'll change that to /admin. You see what they had there. So you'll see this is some website. And on this website, there's this drop down with archive where we can click downloads. And it downloaded this archive to the computer. Now we can extract this if we go to open. So it takes a second to open that. Let's go to the home folder. We have this archive that we can now extract, right click, and then extract here. And you'll see we got a new folder, home. Now, if we take a look in that folder, you'll see it has many subfolders. And one of these folders is README, or one of the files. And you'll see they are using this tool called Borg Backup Repository. So they're using a tool called Borg. This Borg is a command line program. And with it, you can make backups. So you'll see if I open it. If I open that site, you'll see it's a command line program, Linux command line program, called Borg Backup. And it's simply for making backups of the computer. Now, the file we downloaded, as you may have noticed, is archive. You see here, downloads. Once we downloaded it, the file we actually downloaded is archive. So let's see if we can access this backup. So what we can do is go to the home folder and then type in Borg. It's a command line tool. And you'll see by default it is not installed. So we do apt install Borg Backup. That will install the software. They're going to ask us, are you sure? We press yes and enter. And you'll see it is now installing this backup system, this Borg. Now it's going to take a moment to complete the installation. And then we'll have the command Borg available. So with this Borg tool, you can do all kind of commands. You'll see here Borg create, it creates a backup. And there's many different commands. So if we click on usage or quick start, you'll see they can initialize something, they can create something. Now we already have the file, so we could try to list it. We could do Borg list and then specify the path to the archive. So once this thing is done installing, we should be able to type Borg, and you'll see it is installed. It has all kind of commands. So this thing extracted into the folder home and so on. So we can say Borg list and then try if we can list it. And you'll see it asks for a passphrase. So it could be that passphrase is the one we found before. That's squid something. So try this password. Paste it in. Right click paste. And you'll see inside it there is a backup music archive. So we can try to extract it. Let's say we do Borg extract. And it doesn't like that, so let's try Borg /extract or Borg extract. It's the part of the 4:::music archive. Enter. Then the password again, we paste it. And you'll see it seems to have extracted it. Let's check with in the root folder. See if there's anything new. So we have this home. Now we have the folder Alex. And inside Alex, you'll see all kind of folders. In the desktop, we have secret.txt. And it says just a shout out. Let's see what else is there. We have documents with a note. And in here, it seems there's a password. We have username and password. We could try to use this as an SSH username and password. So we could say, open a new terminal. Then say SSH. We remember from nmap that SSH was open. We have SSH and HTTP open in nmap. Let's see if I do a quick scan. Let's see, we have now explored HTTP port 80, but port 22 is open as well, SSH. And SSH is used for remotely controlling a computer, typically a Linux computer. You do SSH Alex add, so the email add, then the target address, your whatever IP address is shown there, followed by the password that we found. So that's this password. We copy it and then paste it in. And you'll see we are now logged in. We have initial access into this target computer. So from here we can browse around. We can list files and folders. And what we need to find is user.txt. So we could check the different folders. We could list documents, downloads. We could simply go through them one by one. And you'll see actually there is user.txt right in the folder. So we can read it, got user.txt. And that tells us the flag of the user.txt. So we copy it and we paste it in here. Next, they want the root.txt flag. Now, we are not user root, right? We are user Alex. So because we are user Alex, we can probably not find root.txt directly. So probably it is stored in the folder root. So you'll see there's a folder root for the administrator, for the root user. And if we try ls root, you'll see we don't have permissions. So we need to escalate our privileges. We need to become root. Next, they ask us what is the root.txt flag. Most likely that is stored in the root folder, the administrator. And we are user Alex. If you see, check with the command who am I. You see we are user Alex, we are not root. However, we can check which commands we can run as administrator, if any. So we can do sudo -l. And then it tells us we can run without password as administrator this program. Now we can take a look what is inside that program. You can do cut, copy this, paste it in. And you'll see this is the contents of this script, this backup.sh. And you'll see it runs some commands here. But also it has a flag here, this C flag, that is the command flag, the optional arguments. So what we could do is try to trick around. We could try to run this as administrator. You see sudo -l, we could run this without password. So we can do sudo followed by this script. And you see we need that without the dots. So sudo, and you see it instantly runs it as administrator, but it just does some random things of that script. Now they had a parameter C, so we could try to see, does that do anything? You say we run the date command, and you see it tells us the date. So there's a trick we can do. It will run whatever command we specify as -c. So let's do bin bash and see if it runs the Linux shell. You see, it takes a moment, and there we go. We now have the root shell. We are now administrator on Linux, so we can browse around. Let's try to go to root. You'll see nothing there. So let's try something else. Let's instead try to copy flag, so /root/flag.txt. and you'll see it tells us there's no such file. And let's see what file name they're looking for, the root.txt. So we can run some commands. Let's say we add a semicolon here to make sure that it's part of a unique command. And you'll see it doesn't find it, so we'll need to do something else. If I do who am I, you see it does run it as the user root, as administrator. We can do ls/root. And you'll see in there is the root.txt file. So we should be able to read that as well. If we try with cut. And you see, there we go, we found the root flag. So we can copy it, paste it in, and the room is now completed.